Hello, and how are you doing? Welcome back to Son Podcast. This is a podcast about the Christian lifestyle. That is how we live for God or unto God in our day to day, be it at school, in our workplaces, how we relate with one another. This is the podcast for you. I do believe that a Christian life should be, a Christian should live their life to the fullest because Christians are the most connected people to their Creator. Like they have an intimate relationship with their Maker. And hence, we should live our lives to the fullest, in whatever capacity. And so this podcast is here to help us grow. Well, as I grow, we grow together. It's not that I know everything, but in the little that I know, I share it out. And maybe we get to share. To share on the comment section. That's how we are growing. My name is Sharon Njogu. So today's episode is about my life lately, because I've tried to film an episode from last week, an episode on relationships. I had technical hitches. Well, I did record, but I had a problem transferring the files. Then after transferring the files, it seems like I was too tired or something is not just adding up with the episode. I wanted to talk about relationships because in the previous episodes that I did, since I started this podcasting afresh from the testimony story, we've tackled how I got saved, some of the things that kept me from getting saved, and then we tackled a little bit about money, and then the next natural thing was to discuss relationships, but something is just not adding up because I tried re-recording it. Hey, I'm a Kikuyu. I tried re-recording it and it wasn't working out. At some point, some neighbors decided to blow out because walikuwa nachomelea mahali, and it was, is this thing it? Am I supposed to film this? And so today I've decided, am I going to go for 2 weeks without an episode? Let me try something spontaneous. I don't think I'm a spontaneous person unless you're asking me out for a road trip. Then at that point I'm spontaneous. I'm available like yesterday more than, but I don't think I'm a spontaneous person sometimes, maybe most times, for me to just sit without having a script that I should follow. And so my life lately, that has been it, trying to record the relationship, of which, cause mine, the recording failed, not my relationship that failed, but the recording failed. Maybe you can share your point of view on relationships. As for me, I do believe that relationships have, God has a big say on relationships, because when I came in this area where I live in Syokimau, I didn't have friends, and so I prayed for a friend, and God gave me a friend. And some more came, but at a certain particular point, I prayed for a friend, and God answered my prayer. So God has a say over our relationships. If He's that kind to give me a friend, and I'm sure it's a lot of us, maybe who have had to pray for a relationship, or a friend that is, God has a say on romantic relationships. Most people say, of which I think I've tested it and it's true, that the quickest prayer that God answers is that, God, if this is not your will, please remove her, for me, him, from my life. And it is the quickest prayer that God answers. And I've actually had such an instance. I don't know whether you've experienced it, where so I had this crush, and the crush was disappointed me, or that situation disappointed me, because the person I had confided in went on to tell another person that I have a crush on this guy. And so that was a frustrating situation that made me swear I'll never have a crush again. But I ended up having another crush, and because I had told myself that I'll never have a crush, I never wanted to accept that it was a crush. I was just like, it is a person that I admire. I love his character, or appreciate his character. I appreciate his character, mostly his love for God, because I don't think we had interacted as much for me to know him very well, but I loved his character, the way he treated everyone, and his love for God. And so I was like, yeah, it's not a crush. But I began dreaming about him. And a girl was telling, a friend of mine was telling me, was telling me that she told me that God has revealed to her her husband. Actually, they are going to watch this. And oh gosh. And I knew that she's talking about this guy. And so I was like, there is no way I'm fighting with my friend about a man, concerning a man. So I was like, okay, yo. I went to God. I told God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have had this crush. I'm sorry that I have hidden him from you. And Lord, I pray, take away every admiration from me. And when I tell you that that thing was instant, it was instant. Like today, I have a crush. Tomorrow, the following day, it's like there is nothing. There was totally nothing. And I was able to treat him like a brother once again. And so God cares about our partners and the people that we will marry. And that's why He answers these prayers so quickly, because He is concerned and He knows our destinies. He knows what He has placed in our destinies. And so He is invested in our relationships. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, this one I feel more free talking about this more than I was recording the others. So yes, God is concerned about our relationships. Another relationship that I can talk about, just a hint. I never had a good relationship with my mom growing up. for the longest time. In fact, I never once ever felt connected to her. I'm saying this with due respect because I think last year I asked her if I could post whatever, and she was like, yeah, it is going to heal other people, so yeah, you can share. So I'm not saying this to ashame her. We never really connected. Maybe it's a relationship that maybe I'd get in deeper later. But I never had a good relationship with her. She easily picked on me growing up. I know now it's the works of the enemy. But come 2018, or let me say like Isaiah, the year King Cyrus died, I saw the Lord or something, but the year Bob Collymore died, that's when I talked to God about, I felt pain. I always felt pain. In fact, that's why I was so depressed and everything, because I felt rejected. And the pain of rejection by a parent is so painful. I don't think there are words that can explain it, but I've seen a redeeming God, and God who is able to redeem something that is dead, because I don't think that relationship ever existed from the onset. It never existed from the onset. And so God reviving that relationship between my mom and I is such one of the biggest blessings I've ever encountered. So the year Bob Collymore died, I asked God, am I going to be carrying this pain alone while I'm the one who was hurt? She hurt me, yet I'm the one who carries the burden the most, because I feel bad with this thing. What people say that, oh, love your parents now, because when they die, you're going to regret not loving them. And I'm like, God, I don't know. The death of Bob Collymore affected me somewhat. I think I admired him as a leader. And so I was like, God, am I going to suffer this pain? Because at this point, I think I had been able to forgive her. I had forgiven her, but what? But the pain, I still felt pain of rejection, abandonment, and all that. And so that now I spoke to God. I'm like, when will I stop carrying this pain with me? And I remember, I think it must have been on a Saturday when I made the prayer, because I remember that day. It was on a Sunday. I went to pick the laptop. I used to volunteer in church. I still do volunteer at the media department on the screens. And so I went to pick the laptop, and as I was just getting out of the booth, I heard she's going to reach out. And I knew that she is the one who was going to reach out. 1.5 years later, she reached out. She was actually honest that about her actions and also the pain she had also undergone as a child in the hands of her mother. And I was like, so this thing was being passed down from, like it is from woman to woman to woman, like it was generational pain. And so, yeah, God healed that relationship because she reached out. Before then, throughout college, whenever whenever I'd call her, we wouldn't last even for a minute in a call. It was, kunanyesha huko, hakunyeshi, ni jua tu, sawa. And I used to feel that she's so quick to hang up the phone. And so it always left me even more disappointed and more rejected by her. And I could remember all her wrongs. I would remember how she picked on me in the situation when I was sick. She didn't take me to the hospital. All these, like, just a lot of negative things. And now that I'm seated here, some of them have started coming back to my mind, but I actually forgot. Like, this is literal, the forgiving and forgetting thing. But in essence, what I'm saying is, God cares about our relationship with our parents, with our partners, and He cares about our partners, who they will be, because He's the one who wrote our destinies. He cares about our relationship, our relationship with our friends. And man, I had not planned to share that. And I think that's why the episode wasn't working, because I was focusing on one line. And kumbe, I could have given the testimony from a wider scope. And in that regard, we'll be talking and sharing about navigating friendships from a Christian perspective, be it the philotia ones. Okay, philotia is personal. Be it the friendship ones, the romantic ones, relationships at work, and also with our parents and other older people or younger people. I don't know. I'm happy that I've done a spontaneous episode, because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick the camera, because I don't want 2 weeks to go by without me having posted. And maybe I'm just going to talk about random stuff, like I lost my phone, which I did. And maybe talk about what I've been meditating on. I've been meditating a lot on the soul. And now that means that will be on another episode. I've been meditating also on the fact that we are in the garden. Every believer is in the Garden of Eden. Because we have been redeemed back and the curse has been broken, meaning that we ought to live according to Genesis chapter 2. But hey, I ended up sharing about the relationships and the major ones. I've never dated in my life. I thank God that I haven't. Because I think the world will tell us that we need experience. And I know that a romantic relationship is not the same as other relationships. But the way we work and relate with our families will also determine how we are going to relate romantically. So if we are looking for experience, then we have experience with our family members, with our friends. And so we do not need to have our hearts broken so that we can say that we have experience on romantic relationships. I've been in a situationship, and that got my heart actually so broken. I was looking forward to marriage, and all of a sudden that thing shifted, because the guy, I had such a deep admiration for the guy, but then it didn't work out. And I was so heartbroken because it wasn't right. And actually, I do know, even for myself, that I wasn't ready to be a wife at that particular time. So if a situationship can break my heart, how much more like an actual relationship? And it wasn't like a situationship where we like it's poking, let's try and figure out where this goes. It was a kind of, we began as friends purely, nothing, no intention, but then it quickly accelerated to something that I think none of us had anticipated. And therefore, and so none, even I personally know none of us were ready for that kind of situation. But in essence, what I'm trying to say is God has a hand in all of our relationships. If He can lead the healing, to the healing of the relationship between my mother and I, then I think God is interested. Not I think, I know that He's interested in all of our relationships, in whatever space that we are in. And so let me stop here, but in the episodes that are to come, we are going to dive deeper into all these topics that I've started, from salvation, money, or work, according to the Bible, and then relationships with God and men. So that's it for this episode. Have a blessed week. Bye bye.